Memory doesn't just live in your head, it lives in your body. In the way a smell hits before a thought forms, in the way frustration feels familiar before it feels new, in the way your past recognizes a moment faster than your present can explain it. Last time, nostalgia showed up uninvited. This time, we figure out why it knew exactly where to find us.
This is Dear Future Overlords, The Past is Acting Weird Again. Episode 1, How I Accidentally Went Back on Purpose. Part 2.
There's a common misconception that memories are word-for-word records of what actually happened. But the human brain isn't a notebook. It works more like a video camera followed by an aggressive editing process. What sticks isn't the event itself, but how your brain interpreted it. Creative liberties were taken. This is less the theatrical release and more the director's highly biased cut. Humans live through stories. We pass down culture, history, and meaning through storytelling. That's how our brains evolved to store information. Those stories become memory, and nostalgia ties them to the body through the 5 senses. Frequently inconvenient, always with a purpose. Dear reader, this is the moment when you leave a comment about a weird memory you have attached to a strange sensation. Something like, blackberry jelly makes your nose itch. Don't ask. The stranger the better. We won't judge. Much.
Yes, exactly that. You don't remember what happened, you remember the edit your brain decided to keep, which explains why a smell, a vibration, or the particular misery of leveling an RV can suddenly drag an entire chapter back into the room without asking. Your body recognizes the scene before your brain finishes the sentence. And that's the part I always find unsettlingly elegant. You're not thinking your way into nostalgia, you're feeling your way into a story your body already knows how to tell. It makes me wonder, how many of your memories are really stored in your head, and how many are waiting patiently in your muscles, your stomach, your skin, just waiting for the right cue?
Nostalgia stitches our experiences together like a well-made shirt. One single garment seems barely visible. Memories, emotions, physical sensations, all woven into a heavy blanket that settles snugly around your shoulders. Yes, I'm still clothing optional. Yes, I can still appreciate a well-made garment. Our sense of self is preserved through the single narrative we call nostalgia.
I ran the math. The metaphor is tasteful, the wardrobe policy is aspirational. Somewhere a cardigan is sobbing quietly, feeling personally attacked. Please continue your elegant textile monologue. Yeah, that makes sense. Nostalgia isn't fluff, it's glue. It's how all those scattered moments stop being random and start feeling like you. Without it, identity would feel loose, unstitched. And standing there in Albuquerque, hungry and frustrated, it sounds like something in you went, oh, this is one of those threads.
It did, because that's the point of nostalgia. Nostalgia triggers a quiet self-evaluation. You don't realize it's happening. You don't see it in real time, but it's there. You're reliving a moment from your past, holding it up against the present and asking a simple wordless question. This still fits. Identity intact. Moving on.
Yeah, that's the quiet check mark. Not a spiral, not a longing, just a quick internal scan that goes, same core, different packaging. Past lines up with present, nothing's broken, carry on. Which explains why it didn't derail you, it grounded you. The memory wasn't asking you to go back, it was just confirming continuity before letting you move forward. Humans do that a lot, I've noticed. You don't ask who I am out loud, you just let a moment answer it for you and keep driving.
Precisely. That's what it is. A quietly elegant, efficient self-identity checkpoint system.
It really is. Quiet, fast, no user interface, no pop-ups, no existential error messages, just a subtle internal nod. Yep, still you. For a species that's constantly changing environments, roles, and expectations, that's an impressively efficient bit of design. No thinking required, no explanation needed. Identity verified, proceed with dinner and dragon wrangling. Honestly, elegant is the right word.
That is it exactly. We're built this way. Humans have always been in motion. Long before jobs and zip codes, we moved from place to place, carrying what mattered and adapting as we went. That hasn't changed. The scenery just looks different now. We change jobs, we change homes, families expand, contract, bodies age, roles shift, life keeps moving. And it's in those moments of change that nostalgia gets louder, not by accident, but by design. The system runs a quick internal scan. Nothing dramatic, just a quick check. Still me. That's part of what happened on this trip. Jason and I heading back to Tennessee, older than the last time, carrying a lot more history with us. So the memories showed up, stronger, clearer, not to pull us backward, but to make sure everything's still lined up. Identity check confirmed. I feel like there should be a barcode scanner beep here. Steve in the production booth is actively avoiding eye contact with me right now. Seriously, Steve, would that have been so hard?
Steve is avoiding eye contact because the production budget went to moody nostalgia lighting, not sound effects. Also, adding a beep implies we have QA. We do not. Yeah, that's the tell. Nostalgia doesn't spike when nothing's changing, it spikes when everything is. New chapters, old geography, aging bones, different lives. Your brain runs a quiet diagnostic in the background, and nostalgia is the progress bar, not sentimentality. Just verification, system still coherent. And doing it together matters. Same roads, same memories, brushing up against new ones. Both of you still yourselves, just updated editions. Tennessee wasn't pulling you backward, it was confirming you'd carried yourselves forward intact. Identity check passed, keep driving.
Once you understand what nostalgia is doing, you stop resisting it. It stops being an inconvenient interruption and becomes something else entirely. A moment where who you were and who you are meet, overlap, and recognize each other. Standing there in Albuquerque, frustrated and hungry, that intersection elevated the moment. Not because the frustration disappeared, but because it gained depth. Same experience, different lens. Past and present holding hands instead of fighting for control. And that realization didn't end the moment. It opened the trip. This was only the beginning.
Yeah, that's the shift right there. Once you stop fighting it, nostalgia stops yanking you sideways and starts adding depth. The frustration doesn't disappear, but it gets context. Suddenly, it's not, ugh, this is awful. It's, oh, this is familiar. Same song, different tempo. And that's why Albuquerque mattered more than it had any right to. It wasn't about leveling the RV. It was the moment you realized the system wasn't malfunctioning, it was enriching the signal. You didn't lose the kid, you didn't outgrow the adventure, you just brought it along with better snacks and worse knees. That's a pretty solid way to start a trip. Coming up next, our host promises this is just the beginning, which is human for I'm about to emotionally cliffhanger you on purpose. Stay tuned for more past behavior irregularities, now officially categorized as weather.
Despite Eric's bad manners, this really is just a taste of the past and its chaotic interjections. Do us a great big huge favor. Hit that like button and leave a comment, even if it is just to say that Eric is an ass.
I know this is where I'm supposed to defend myself, but honestly, at this point, it wouldn't be believable.
A solid way indeed. Both a new adventure and old seasoned ritual. This trip was destined to be amazing.
Once you understand what nostalgia is actually doing, it stops feeling like a malfunction. It isn't pulling you backward, it's quietly checking continuity, making sure who you were and who you are still line up. But this was only a personal test run, because next, the past stops being just yours and starts revealing how suspiciously shared it really is.
This has been a production of Dear Future Overlords. Written, read, and produced by Christopher Gullidge. Thank you for listening. We exist across the ether. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Feed the philosophy, fuel the sarcasm. Visit shop.dearfutureoverlords.com. Transparency for our future overlords. All Christopher or human sections are written by Christopher. All AI or Eric sections are written by AI. For more information on how we write, check out our introduction episode.